Hi, my name is Chris Ryan, and today I have come to the Asprey where I have two special guests. I've got Andy and Piers from MeandMyGolf, who are talking about 3 things that every golfer needs to know. Okay, so I have come to the Asprey, and many of you will know the Asprey because it is the home of Andy and Piers, MeandMyGolf.
It is.
Andy,
Piers,
thank you
very
much for joining me. So I've come here to do some filming with Andy and Piers, and just before we get into that video, you've got something pretty special this week, actually launching today.
Yeah, we over the winter we've sort of put a plan together, and we've created a brand new coaching plan that's designed really for anyone who's looking to break 100. So it's a 6-week step-by-step guide, ready for the season to start, really, just after the Masters. For anyone who's looking to get past that 100 mark this year, and there's quite a few people out there who want to get past that mark, including you, Chris.
Well, we all started there, didn't we? We started there at one point, didn't we? So,
we did.
And where can they find that?
Over on MeandMyGolf.com.
Excellent, fantastic. So yeah, if that does apply to you, make sure you go and check that out. So, got you guys here. You're both very busy. So I thought, what could I do with 10 minutes that I thought could really help you, the viewer, out there? What kind of question could I ask you? So the question I'm going to ask to you is, what 3 things should every golfer know?
3 things.
It's good, that is.
And one of those things can't be your website, MeandMyGolf.com. Okay? But what 3 things should every golfer know?
Okay, now I think as golf coaches, we all get, we see a lot of golfers every week. So we tend to see a lot of the same things, from people coming to us, don't we? So I think we can pick 3 good things, Piers, that can help every golfer out there. And I think if they can apply these and understand these, they can certainly get better.
Perfect.
Should we start with the first one?
Let's go for it.
Okay,
absolutely.
So the first one then is the head should stay steady and not still. Now, this is something, Piers, that again, from people coming to see us, and for you, Chris, they'll come and say, well, I'm working on keeping my head still or keeping my head down, and if I can keep it still, I can make good contact with the golf ball, but it's not necessarily the case, is it, really?
Not really, and I think, contact's the key word, isn't it? Because so many people do struggle with contact. It would make a lot of sense, really, wouldn't it? To think, well, if I'm struggling with contact, let's keep the head still, so that we can understand kind of where the logic comes from, but as I'm sure you can explain, it's not always the case.
Exactly. So what we're going to demonstrate here is we're going to ask Piers to hit a shot.
Yes.
In a cold morning here, first one. And we're going to say, just keep your head still. And we're just going to see how the swing looks from keeping your head still, Piers. So
I've been working this for the last 3 months, so I should be pretty good at this now.
And we're just going to take a look at what happens and then sort of talk about it a little bit.
Head stays still.
So, he managed to hit a reasonable shot there. A little shorter than possibly normal, Piers, there.
Agree.
But, what we're talking about really is that, you'll notice from that, Piers's head was limiting the amount your body can move. And I think this is the key thing. When people think about keeping their head still, what happens is it limits the amount the body can actually rotate, because the head doesn't stay still, it actually stays steady. And Piers, when we're looking to create a nice wind-up in the backswing, the head rotates, doesn't it? I know when we've tested people on 3D machines, there's a lot of head rotation during the backswing and during the downswing as well. And just demonstrate that and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, look, you're absolutely right, Andy. The science tells us that the head of a touring professional moves more than an amateur golfer. So, we'll see that in the backswing, unless you are hyper flexible, and look, the majority of us aren't, Chris, we know that. So if I'm going to move into the backswing and get a good full turn, I've got to move my head. You can see my cap is moving to the side there. If I'm starting the downswing, it may stay pretty steady on the start of the downswing, and into impact it'll be steady, but then through the golf ball it's starting to move, and very much so into my finished position. So if the head stays still, we're not going to be dynamic with the body. There's no chance.
So that's what tends to happen. It switches the body off, it limits the rotation, limits power, and actually leads to poor contact, as opposed to the opposite. What people think, if they keep it still, it improves contact, which is the key. So we've got a great drill that we can ask you guys to do, and I'd give everyone the permission to have a go at this, really, because it does actually really help.
That's nice of him. Let's have a golf ball there, Andy. In your pocket there.
We've got a great drill we call follow the flight. So just talk to us, Piers.
So follow the flight. And interestingly enough, that shot, as you said there, it was okay. It hit the fairway, but it was a little bit of ground and ball together, and it wasn't really as pure as you can get it. So follow the flight is pretty simple. We want you to allow yourself to follow the flight of the golf ball as you are hitting it. So as I'm swinging through and hitting the golf ball, I'm really going to be working hard at watching the golf ball through its journey. So Chris, watching Annika Sorenstam, Henrik Stenson, David Duval, all great ball strikers, they were almost looking toward the target more than actually the golf ball when they struck it.
You see more of that than the opposite, don't you? You see more golfers, doing what you say. I think you see the opposite of keeping the head down. You don't see many of that at all. So
okay, so let's follow the flight.
What people think it is as well, which is the important thing.
Okay,
so we want you to notice what Piers's head does in this golf swing, and it does anything but stay still.
And I'm going to exaggerate this one a little bit as well. And the strike for me was a lot more solid. That ball's probably going to go 20 yards further. Yeah, 20 yards further.
Yeah,
Perfect demo.
Yeah, very good. Nice.
Perfect demo. Excellent. So I think the real key there is its concept, isn't it?
Yes,
You know,
it is,
because so often we see golfers, you know, with these faults, and when we speak to them, it's because they're actually trying to do that.
Yes.
And so, you know, even just, you know, I'm certain you feel this as well, that often we can feel we can improve a golfer just from a conversation, just from changing their concept and allowing them to have some different thoughts.
It's just the thoughts. It's just what they're thinking about.
It is, and the one thing I will say as well, there's an element of trusting it as well. I mean, we've told people this before, and almost you see in their mind, they go, no, he's wrong, because they've thought about it for so long. So it just takes maybe, you know, just hitting a few shots like that, and you'll see the difference straight away.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to the second thing that every golfer should know. Right, superb. So, second thing that every golfer should know.
Okay, so setup is different to impact. Chris, I think a lot of people have probably said to you over the years, having golf lessons, I'm just trying to get back into the same position that I started from.
Absolutely.
Now that's okay.
And they do.
And they do as well.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
actually, they do a great job with that.
They do, they really do.
But we know that it's not dynamic enough. So I think, look, let's just get straight into it. Andy, so just take your setup for me. So we know that when we're setting up to the golf ball, we're kind of aiming for obviously good club face alignments, but parallel alignment with the body to that. And also the weight is pretty much 50-50. Again, science has told us the best players tend to be setting it with an iron with a little bit more weight in the left side, or the lead side, should I say. But from there, Andy, if you were to return back down, swing back up and then return back down to that position, there's no way there's lots of power in this body when he's hitting this golf shot.
And this is where we see a lot of people, don't we? We see a lot of people back at impact, almost just in that same position, maybe a little more hunched over than they started, but no real movement of the body, and it's very difficult to create consistency and power from there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's amazing how many people I put on camera during lessons and get them to impact and actually ask them, is that set or impact?
Yep.
And they don't know.
Actually,
And they'll
don't
say,
know,
that's my setup. And you say, that's impact.
You can actually toggle between the two, can't you?
You
go
can,
set
very,
up
very
impact, set
similar.
up impact, and it actually looks exactly the same, as you say. So I think, look, what we need to do is we need to show you, first of all, what it should look like and put some dynamic movement into this. So Andy, without actually going into a backswing, just go from setup to impact for me.
Okay, so here's my setup.
And tell everyone what you're doing.
Okay, so impact, basically I'm going to make sure I'm shifting my weight towards my lead side. I'm rotating the torso and the hips, and I'm leaning the shaft forward. So impact is going to look a lot more like this. You can see how I moved over to this side, shaft's leaning forward, and you can see now from down the line how much I've rotated the lower body as well from here.
So just stay there for me. So the great thing with this, Chris, as we know, the club, if the club is going to be approaching the golf ball with this sort of movement with an iron, we want to be hitting down on the golf ball. So you can see his club head is descending when he strikes the golf ball. He's taking the loft of his 6 iron off, maybe turning it more like a 5 iron. That's going to be a lot more powerful and a lot more efficient with his contact.
So much easier there to get that ball turf. You can see it's easy for me now to hit past the golf ball when I'm actually moving this way and rotating the lower body.
Just actually doing what Andy did there is obviously a really good thing to do. But we've got an even better drill, haven't we? And it sounds a bit like a sandwich, doesn't it?
Yes, BTL. BTL,
right?
not quite a BLT, but a BTL. So all we're going to do is take your setup from here, and we're going to just put 3 components in. We're going to ask you to have a little bump to start. We're going to have some turn, and then we're going to have a lean. So we're going to go BTL, bump, turn, lean. And this is going to enable you to get into this nice solid impact. So weight's in my lead leg, shaft's leaning forward, and you can see the pelvis is rotated there.
So do that again for me. So we're going to bump the body towards the target, so a lateral movement towards the target. Then we're going to turn, get that rotation with the body. Then we're going to lean the shaft forward. This works really well. But obviously we want to make sure, you know, impact isn't a static position.
Absolutely.
It's very dynamic. It needs to flow. So we need to get him flowing now into this. So just show me how you're going to do that, Andy.
Okay, so I've done that sort of broken down. I'm now going to put it all together. So
Yeah.
there's the BLT all together, and then I can sort of take it to the golf swing where I feel I can swing back, maybe do a mini swing first, and get feeling if I can move back into that where I get back to the shaft leaning forward, pelvis rotated, and weight moving towards that side.
Good. Yeah, so we'll actually hit one now as well. And it's actually, we always say it's like a dot to dot almost. So it's a dot to dot, the static movements, and then we try and smooth it all off and make him look like the Mona Lisa.
Okay, so I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a feel of where I want to be at impact.
Beautiful.
There's that BTL, and then I put it into a mini swing to start with here.
Yeah, very nice. Efficient strike.
And I think what I tend to find is when people go into impact and we kind of get them to do this little exercise, the first sort of feedback they go is kind of, wow, that's really quite far away from where, you know, and if you explain that to someone, we often see, you know, a little bump, a little turn, but actually it's really good, that drill, just to get an idea of actually where should I be, because, you know, if you're at the top of the swing, it's really difficult to get to impact if you don't really know where that is. So that's a great little drill to get someone to go, okay, that's giving me an appreciation of where I need to be. More chance of getting there.
Yeah, look, it gives you the feel that you need, but also gets you focusing on moving this way. As we know, too many golfers are focusing on staying still, getting behind the golf ball, hitting it on the way up. We don't really want that.
Combine that one with the first one, again, everything helps there together, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to number 3 things that every golfer should know. So, 2 fantastic pieces of information for you. Final nugget of information, what's the third thing that every golfer should know?
Okay, well the third thing every golfer should know is the club face is king. Now the club face really is mainly responsible for the starting direction. As a saying in the golf industry is that the club face sends it and the path bends it. Now it's amazing that golfers, when they look at their golf swings, it's quite easy to, let's say, to look at a fault, isn't it? You know, they can see they're coming over the top, they can see maybe they're not getting their weight towards their lead side, but these are often symptoms of the club face. Now when you look at the golf swing, it's very hard to actually see what's going on with the club face, so golfers really are often unaware. So I think if you have a particular poor shot, let's say it's a slice, you need to really start with the club face and make sure that that is in a good order and not causing a knock-on effect and causing these other swing faults.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you're absolutely right, Andy. When people video themselves, which they do a lot now, don't they, Chris?
More so now, yeah.
It's great that people are doing this, but then they will see the big movements. They'll see, you know, the poor body movement or the arms and the club going into positions they don't want. But as Andy said, and we know this, Chris, that the club face is often the driver of all of these swing faults. You know, it really is. So should we just go through an example of how the open club face can really cause you some problems? So I think if we were to say to everyone, Chris, that what do you think an open club face could cause, they would probably say a slice.
Absolutely.
Of course, we know that. But the swing faults it can cause are obviously quite damaging as well. So if, for instance, if I were to stand here now, and let's say I were to open the club face a lot on the way back and continue to open it to the top of my backswing. Now, all my brain wants to do is to square the club face, because if I do everything that we've done in the first 2 parts, where I drive my body and I rotate it and I lean the shaft forward, that golf ball is going to go right of that house. So there's no way that can work. So your brain will only let you do one of those, and then it will try and figure out every way it can to get the golf ball onto the fairway with those other golf balls. So from this open position, you could swing over the top. So that's when we throw the club head and shaft well over the top of the plane and swing it to the left to help the golf ball get nearer the target. The club from there, the body from there could throw the club down early. So by early releasing and throwing out all the angle between my club shaft and forearms, look at that, I've squared the face up. But I'm probably going to hit the ground before, or I'm probably going to hit it right up into the sky, like so. And the other one would be, again, you saw a little bit of that when I was early releasing, I would hang back. So if I actually hang back onto my back foot, again, I can square the face up. But again, I'm going to introduce the ground and I'm going to hit the ball very high, and it's not going to be a great strike.
Absolutely.
So it's safe to say that what a lot of people see with their own golf swings are often just the symptoms of the fault. And if they fix the fault, then they can start to fix the symptoms a little bit easier. So we've got a great drill, Piers, that we're going to get to share with the viewers here. And this is something we learnt off Martin Hall years and years ago. And it's amazing how much success this has with golfers. And it really does enable golfers to square the face better. Just talk us through the drill and how it helps. And talk us through what we see the golfers do as well.
Yeah, okay, there we go. So I think, look, we're obviously still talking about the open club face. We want to get rid of those other swing faults, those symptoms, but the only way we can do this, as we said, is by closing the face better through the golf ball. So what we're looking to do through the golf ball is actually get the face turning through, and you see, you know, watch the TV, you can do the slow modes, you can see a lot of the golfers, Chris, will be in this full release of their hands, the toe end of the club pointing up in the air. We know that when we start seeing the people who are in an open face position through the ball, kind of get this almost this chicken wing effect. Really the hands, the left hand on top of the right hand, face looking up to the sky. We just don't want that. So the drill, catch the raindrops. So we're just going to go lead hand only, do a little mini movement on the way back, and then from there rotate the body, move everything how we wanted to before, but then simply rotate the palm. So if it was raining,
it's just
we don't want it. We would be catching raindrops.
Just in time.
So catching those raindrops from there, not in that bad position like so. So again, rotate once more through there, catching raindrops.
And this is an exaggeration, that we don't necessarily have as much movement as this, but it's a great feeling and an exaggeration to get you closer to where you want to be. And feeling real, Chris, as we know, is always different, isn't it?
But I think we'd always like golfers to kind of overemphasise the movement first of all. You can always kind of rein it back a little bit from there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure if someone has got those swing faults and they've got an open club face, the first thing that you're going to want them to do is to hit the ball left.
Absolutely.
So if we can actually get you, for the right-handed golfer, so if we can get you hooking the golf ball to the left by maybe catching the raindrops, suddenly your brain goes, well, actually, I don't need to come over the top now. I don't need to hang back. I don't need to early release. Absolutely. So they can start to disappear without even thinking about it.
I mean, I kind of say to golfers, bad stuff breeds bad stuff.
Yep.
But good stuff breeds good stuff. So
Yeah,
you put
like
some
it.
bad stuff in the open phase, you're going to add in some other poor movements. But you put good things in,
Yeah.
and like you said, other good things are going to start to happen. So we just got to try and change that trend a little bit.
Okay,
Exactly.
so let's hit one, shall we? And look, to start with, just hit little soft ones. Just really get the feeling of getting this forearm rotation, hand rotation, and obviously club face rotation. Now we know, Chris, that we played golf a lot of times. I don't need any help in closing that face through the golf ball, but here we go. So you can see the golf ball hooking to the left. That is a dream shot for somebody. Now there I am catching raindrops. That's a dream shot for somebody who is doing all of those bad swing faults and slicing it.
Absolutely, they can
got
do
a
that in
chance from
practice, and absolutely, they say that in practice, and they're fixed, aren't they? They're on the road to success.
Yes.
And I think doing that, you've got a much better chance of doing the previous two as well. They're all linked, aren't they? It's
indeed,
amazing,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
We actually thought about it, didn't we?
Exactly.
Superb. Right, so I mean that was fantastic. 3 things which I really think can apply to every golfer, and even if you feel that you don't fall into those categories, there's often a chance that you're just not aware of it. And I think we've talked about a little bit about concepts, getting the right concepts and drills that go along with it. Fantastic information for these guys out there. So obviously massive thanks to you guys. Really
Chris, yeah,
appreciate
thank
you asking me down here and do some videos. As we said at the start of the video, make sure you check out their new Break 100 series launching today. Absolutely fantastic for all you golfers out there looking to break that landmark. But again, thank you to you for watching this video. Really hope there was something in here which can help you. Usual stuff is down below. There's a comment box down there, there's a like button, and there's a button over here which will allow you to subscribe. I'm sure you do, but if you don't subscribe to these guys' channel, also link over here to subscribe to their channel. Maybe it's the first time you've got internet, or it's the first time you've been on YouTube. You may not know who these guys are, but I'm sure you do. But thank you for watching. We shall hopefully see you back here again soon. And again, thanks to Andy and Piers.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers,
guys.
thanks, Chris.